Something huge is brewing in St. Louis as Doug Armstrong continues his masterclass of an offseason, unloading even more cap space after a veteran defenseman is claimed off waivers. But it's not only that, this has major implications towards an even bigger picture, as the St. Louis Blues have been once again linked to a key young defenseman. We're going to break down all this, the player claimed off waivers, how this implicates the team, and how this young player could change everything on this Blues team if acquired later on this episode. Before we get into that, if you're part of the almost 79% watching this and you haven't hit that sub button yet, make sure to go and hit that sub button. It helps us out a ton. We'll keep you up to date on everything around the Blues, from prospects, news, reports, rumors, and games once we get into the season, and you're not going to want to miss any of this. But with that, Darius, let's just hop straight into the first topic today, where we did see today Nick Leddy, after being placed on waivers yesterday, was claimed by the San Jose Sharks. This did clear up $4 million in cap room, and once Crew gets placed on LTIR, that will give them almost $5.9 million in cap space moving into next season. I mean, Doug has been doing an incredible job moving players out, bringing in other key young players, but freeing up more cap space for not only a move that could happen now, but later in the season could be huge. And Darius, what is your thoughts on just going out, Leddy being claimed off waivers, opening up so many more opportunities?
Well, first of all, the San Jose Sharks are, we're still trying to get to the cap floor. So they did, obviously, the St. Louis Blues a bit of a favor here. They're looking for some veteran presence. But I think if you look at the Blues lineup on defense, I mean, we're going to get into it in a second, but, Tucker's there now. Tucker got into a couple playoff games. Of course, he's spent some time in the NHL, and he's getting a little bit older. I wonder if it is time for him to become an everyday NHLer. And of course, not everyone except for your, some of the guys solidified on the top of your lineup play in every single game every season. But I do wonder if it is time for him to become an everyday NHLer. And we've been talking about it ad nauseum, getting younger on the blue line. So I like the move. I think there was a lot of question marks about Nick Leddy heading into this offseason, because it was pretty apparent that he probably wouldn't return. We just didn't know like how it was going to be, done, or how they were going to go about it. But obviously put on waivers. He was claimed. They freed up that cap space. They used that cap space. They already weaponized that cap space by signing Suter in a great deal. You can see here what's come in so far and what's gone out. Really, I mean, Doug Armstrong is setting up Steiner in such a great way here. Like, really just putting it on a pedestal for him. But absolutely love it. But yeah, I think it's a great move in that. And then, of course, with Torrey Krug going on LTIR, you have a bunch of other salary cap space that isn't accounted for in Puckpedia right now that's going to become available to you. And what can you do with that? Well, you can weaponize that again by going out and either making another trade or potentially an offer sheet. I'm not sure if it's offer sheet season again for the Blues this summer, but could be a trade. And there's one player in particular, I know we're going to get to in a second, that if you look at all the contract projections, because he needs a contract, it does line up with the salary cap space that the Blues will have.
And I mean, when we're looking at this team, we know Leddy moving out, it opens up more room. The left side does lose a veteran presence, but we do see Tucker stepping in. And a quote from Doug Armstrong today, he said it became a numbers game. One of the things, too, is a coach who selects, who goes over the boards, is a big Tucker fan. And this seems like what ended up happening was Leddy was someone that was making $4 million. They needed to move on. They needed to clear up room. He's done a great job by clearing space. We have Logan Mailloux joining this team. And listen, if you didn't watch the episode, we did a full thing with Josh Goss, so go check that out yesterday, as well as he is from Habsiders, and give a full breakdown on Logan Mailloux. But the biggest thing with this team is bringing in Tucker, and it seems like Monty is a huge fan. Last year, 38 games played, 7 total points, 4 plus minus. But the biggest thing, a physical defenseman, throws hits, block shots. I'm going to look at this team, and yes, maybe getting a more veteran guy could help in the long run. But Darius, would you be upset running Mailloux and Tucker as the third pairing going into next year, which doesn't even cost $2 million in cap space?
No, I think this actually could work. And I feel like it could be close to the plan. If they have their way, and we're going to get into it in a second, it might be a different player. But if they have their way, I feel like it's going to be close to this. Tyler Tucker has never changed his game. Since his days with the Barrie Colts, he's such a scrappy player, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he can make plays, he can skate. And of course, like you mentioned, he blocks the shots, all of those things. He's such a scrappy player and a player that you can win with. That translates to the playoffs, right? And we saw a little bit of that. And obviously, Monty is a huge Tyler Tucker fan. So I'm excited to see what type of jump he takes this year, how many games he plays, and how that affects his game. taking a little bit more of a leap there. So it's going to be exciting. But again, when you look at Mayu on the other side, there's a little bit of yin and yang too. I feel like Tyler Tucker is that scrappy player, can play well defensively, can move the puck, right? But Mayu is all offense, all gas, no breaks, right? And he's adding different layers to his game, like we were talking about with Josh Goss from Habs Digest. He is adding different layers to his game, but a little bit of yin and yang on that pairing. So I like it. It's a young pairing, and they have something to prove this season, which I think, if you come in with a couple guys who are hungry to make an impact, that's never a bad thing.
And I mean, Blues fans, what is your thoughts on how Doug Armstrong has been handling this offseason, adding Suter and Bukestad, moving on from a $4 million contract in Nick Leddy? What is your overall thoughts, and how would you grade this offseason so far? Because it seems like even more is in the works as we get straight into the second topic. From Jeremy Rutherford, he goes into saying the Blues have been trying hard to get Bowen Byram from Buffalo. According to league sources, there's a possibility that Byram gets an offer sheet. Now, he did follow it up, say, to be fair, clear, the offer sheet could be from another club, not the Blues, but that would obviously take the Blues out of the mix if this did happen. Now, we know the big thing is Doug Armstrong spoke to the media and he said, this is the team, we're done with it. But if you go back to last offseason, he said pretty much the exact same thing. And as you can see, a defenseman joined this team in Broberg and Holloway. At 4, Doug Armstrong loves his offer sheet. He's looking at a team where Bowen Byram is not very happy with Buffalo. Nothing has worked out. We're seeing the rumors circulate to the point where even other insiders, Cam Robinson spoke on it today, not only Blues insiders, but it does get very interesting. Listen, Bowen Byram would cost about a first and a third if you're going to go out and offer sheet 7 or less million. It does seem like we're looking at Buffalo that's going to match any type of offer, but the biggest thing is looking at the new defense, you just opened up room. As much as Monty loves Tucker, I could very well see them going out to get Bowen Byram. Maybe you slide Falk down. Falk goes next offseason or in the middle of the year and you get a younger team that still has a lot of experience. But I mean, Darius, what is your thoughts on just the reports still circulating that the Blues are very actively and trying hard to get Bowen Byram?
Well, when everyone looks at Bo Byram for the last little while, it's an offer sheet. It's going to be an offer sheet. It's definitely going to be an offer sheet. You're going to give up the first and the third, presumably the first and the third, because he is projected to get about $6 million, right? And that kind of lines up with the cap space that the Blues are going to have. It's going to come in around that area, probably 5.9 to roughly 6.5, right? So everyone's talking about an offer sheet. And I know the St. Louis Blues, had great success with a couple offer sheets last season. So everyone's looking at that. But the reason I think it will be a trade, and I keep bringing up a trade for Bo Byram, is because if there is another team interested in offer sheeting, that could take the Blues out of the race. And it really depends if the Blues want to offer sheet another young player, right? So I do wonder if it's a trade at this point in time to free up a little bit more salary cap space as well to make Bo Byram fit with his eventual contract extension. So I am wondering right now that, it's probably going to be a trade if you're going to acquire Bo Byram. And the other thing, the Buffalo Sabres right now don't want futures anymore. They don't want draft picks. Like, they've been rebuilding for 10, 15 years at this point. They've made it pretty clear they don't want futures. So they would rather, if they are going to get rid of Bo Byram, which it sounds like they keep flip-flopping on so many players. They say they're not going to trade somebody, then they trade JJ Peterka, right? So they're flip-flopping on almost every player. So, if it comes down to the point that they do want to move off of this player, I do think it's via trade, and they want certain pieces back that can make some type of impact at the NHL level. I'm not saying like top line forwards or anything like that, but a guy who can slot into the lineup immediately and play at the NHL level. So that's why I'm thinking it's probably a trade at this point in time. But things are going to get very interesting, and they continue to heat up.
Because, I mean, you could go out and offer, if they want experience, take on Justin Falk as a contract. You can still attach a few depth pieces. There's a lot of people that Doug Armstrong can still go out to sign, but it's very interesting, Blues fans. So what is your thoughts on Nick Leddy being claimed? What is your thoughts on them trying very hard to get another player in Bowen Byram, who, in my opinion, would solidify this top 4 playing on the right side, which is an offhand, but he can still do it. What is your thoughts on all this? Go down and leave a comment on all of it down below. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We're going to be back with another episode, maybe 2 tomorrow, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius. Probably the cleanest outro I've ever done, and take care.